Happy April 9th, everyone, and we are coming to you tonight with a very interesting program, and I think you'll all enjoy this. As you know, I recently was asking if anyone wanted to share their experience talking to me on their buying of the ETXs, and I know some of you had problems and others of you did not. So, a number of you are a little camera shy, but we are fortunate to be joined today with Scott Klugelman. Did I say your last name, Scott, right?
Yes, Kugelman.
Kugel.
Yeah.
From Atlanta, and he is one of members of the Humble Nation and was happy enough to join us. So, Scott is going to be here, and with that, Scott, let's talk just a bit, and then we'll take a look at some of the blocks. Um, I, what interested you to begin with to invest in ETXs? Obviously, none of us had done this before. This is brand new. But why did you want to give that a shot?
Yeah, great question. I was interested in the ETX product and the digital assets because, like you, I'm a big supporter of Humble Financial and what we're doing and what the company's doing as a whole. And I figured, as a shareholder, I certainly wanted to test the waters. I did a lot of research on it, knowing that digital assets, excuse me, and cryptocurrency is certainly here to stay. It does not look like it's going to be going away anytime soon. And I figured, as a valued investor and someone who's going to be with Humble for the long term, to definitely get into what they're doing and support the company by investing in something that clearly, I think we all need to believe in.
And how long now have you had money in the ETX?
Well, I just, as you know, it just became available to United States
I
customers.
think it was just a week ago today.
Yeah, it was a week ago Friday. So I pretty much jumped in right away. Now, I will preface my comments by saying, by being part of the Humble Nation, as you like to call it so affectionately, a lot of folks were talking about Digibyte, and I kind of got a head start by setting up an account with one of the exchanges. And I know when we go into the Humble Financial, you know, uh, investment options, you'll see where you have to have an exchange set up. I happen to chose Bittrex, or Bittrex, I guess is the right pronunciation of that. From what I was researching and kind of understanding where Humble was going with this, so I was when prior to it being introduced to United States customers and the ability for us to buy the ETXs through Humble Financial, I actually was buying some Digibyte, which is one of the assets, one of the digital assets that most of the portfolios on Humble Financial is comprised of. I was buying some Digibyte through Bittrex on my own, just by using their website and using it on my phone or on a desktop, and just making those purchases and just buying just small amounts of Digibyte, $30
And
here,
when was
$40.
that you started doing that?
That was probably about, I would say, beginning of February. So really hadn't been that long.
And and
So
were you
mhm,
happy uh, just to spend a little time on the Digibyte? Were
mhm.
you happy? Was it easy? You set up your Bittrex account at that time. Is that correct?
Correct, correct. So the first thing an investor will need to do when he or she would like to, delve into the ETXs with Humble Financial is you do have to set up an account with one of the exchanges, which the exchanges are Bittrex, uh, Binance, excuse me, Binance US, or Coinbase Pro are kind of the three main ones on the Humble ETX platform. So I set my Bittrex account up, right around the 1st of February, and anticipation of the rollout of the ETXs with Humble Financial, not knowing that they were going to be dropped so quickly. I know Brian Foote dropped them on April 2nd, like you said, a week ago. So I wanted to test the waters, and I wanted to do just buy some, and I chose Digibyte because, again, the research that I had done, a lot of the alignment that was talked about with Humble Financial was around Digibyte. I know Digibyte is a currency that's, one of their taglines is that they've been around for 7 years. They're one of the fastest cryptocurrencies, the most stable cryptocurrency. And it was also at a good price point for me personally. I think my first purchase I made was in the 5 or 6 cent range, and now it's trading at just shy of about 9 cents. 9 cents an asset, I guess. So yeah, I wanted to get my feet wet with Bittrex prior to Humble Financial launching the ETXs here in the United States. And so, it was just a modest amount of money that I put into it, my wife and I, and just said, let me test the waters to kind of, dip my toe into the pool, so to speak.
Let me do this. First of all, let me ask, when you set up your Bittrex account, was it difficult to set that up, did you find? Right
No, it
away.
wasn't. It was pretty easy to set up the Bittrex account.
And, and,
The
and also
biggest
let me ask then, when you set up, a lot of times like I use Schwab, other people use other trading platforms. When you put money in there, it seems like it takes them, a number of days before they allow you to start trading. Was that the same with Bittrex, or did you?
No, 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 nope, not at all. With Bittrex, all I did when I made my first deposit was I literally took my debit card out. We were sitting at the kitchen table. I remember it was a Saturday morning, and I was talking to my wife about digital assets, and she's very aware of Humble and kind of what the company is doing. And I literally took my debit card out of my wallet, and I think I deposited $100.
And that's the
And
thing.
no,
So
it
you
was
took that out, and you just go to Bittrex, and what's it just say? Enter your. Is that where you
yeah.
have to have the key, the API key, or is that more on the blocks?
That's more on the
Okay.
blocks.
Okay.
You
So
have your bit.
we'll
Yeah, you
get to
have your
that then.
Bittrex.
When you did the deposit into
Bittrex.
Bittrex, you just took your debit card out and put in your number
Yeah,
like you were buying something off of Amazon, huh?
that is 100% correct. 100% correct. And the money was available to me right there. And again, from the research and from everything with, Humble's alignment with Digibyte, there was a lot of talk about that. I said, well, let me buy $100 worth of Digibyte. And I was able to do it, unlike Schwab or whoever your broker of choice is. Like you said, sometimes you have to wait a few days before the money clears. Nope, that money was available right away.
Okay, so let me now then bring up your, or not your, but this is the Humble, obviously, financial website, and where we have the blocks. And you actually
Hmm.
were here at Block Five. I believe you invested in Block Five, right?
Correct. Correct. So as you can see from this page, so once you set yourself up with an account with Humble, now Humble does charge, and I know you've talked about in some of your previous shows, Mr. Martin. Humble does charge that $4.99 per month to be a subscriber. So that sign up is very easy for your viewing audience. You just go to the Humble Financial homepage, and we saw Brian's tweet. I believe he tweeted that they recognized that they were going to have to upgrade the servers and that type of thing. And I do want to add one thing, if I could. The technical support with Humble was outstanding because when you make your first purchase on a block, you deposit the money. If you're here in the United States, you can deposit it either in US dollars or in Bitcoin. And I made just like I told you I did with the Bittrex when I opened up the Bittrex account, 2 months ago to buy some of the Digibyte. It was the same thing. I just had to take out my debit card off of the Humble Financial platform. I told, I did the minimum investment on Block Five, which was about $360, and I made the transaction. Now, Humble uses a third-party payer. They use a company called WYRE. I guess it's Wire Payments, and everything was very secure. I do want the Humble Nation to know that the security on this was outstanding. and you get a confirmation right away. You get a confirmation from Wire Payments that says the transaction is in process. I got a little concerned because when I first did it, I thought it was going to be real time, like I was experiencing with the Bittrex and the, when I purchased some of the Digibyte asset. And so I actually sent it, nothing happened for about 5 minutes or so. And I actually sent an email to Humble Support, and it was amazing. They got right back to me and they said, Scott, they said there's a little bit of a lag time between, when you'll see the funds available, with this third party payer and, the whole thing. And literally, once I got the email, I literally refreshed my screen where we just were earlier, and my $360 was there, and I was able to make the purchase of the Block 5,
And
make the
that
investment.
customer support you contacted what, through the Humble website?
Email through,
Email.
yep, and it was
Well, where did you
great.
find their email?
I just, on the Humble Financial homepage, there's a place for support, and
Okay,
it
so
was
that's why I was
great.
saying you go to Humble Financial, yeah,
And I got two emails back from them in about a matter of 10 minutes. They said, there's a little bit of a, with Bittrex, there was a little bit of, and it wasn't even a huge lag. It was maybe a couple, 5 minutes, 10 minutes. But I was like, hey, this is $350. I want to feel secure about it. And they made me feel very, very secure. And I wanted to make sure the audience understands that. And that's part of why we're investing in Humble, because obviously Mr. Foote has got things going with customer support, because I think there was even some complaints about it last week, and people there all day and night over the weekend, and I was amazed at the customer support that I got just on a simple question about, hey, I made the deposit, I've got a confirmation from Wire Payments, and I was so satisfied as an investor. I was like, this company is really doing the right thing by
well,
letting people know.
I get the impression. I think you do too. Hopefully, everyone who's that it's a this is not a fly by night company, and I know Brian Foote said that on Twitter they had some problems because there was so much demand once they had the ETXs that they were setting up additional servers ropes. But anyway, it's good to hear
It's good to
your
hear. And
experience, with them.
And I'll add one other thing. The part that was a little tricky, and I saw some tutorials kind of going around uh, on Twitter, and some of the people that are part of that humble nation, as we like to call it. There was a little bit of an issue with the API key, and the API key is just a security measure. So, like when you get your Humble account set up, the one you're subscribed to for $4.99 a month, and you go to make that first transaction, it does ask you for something called, and I'm not super technical, but it does ask you for what's called an API key. And all you needed to do with Bittrex, and I'm sure it's probably the same with Coinbase Pro and Binance US. When I logged into my Bittrex on my computer, not from my phone, but when I logged into Bittrex US and I logged into my account, under account profile, just like you would on Schwab, you'd have a profile there, or for passwords and security and that type of thing. There's actually a down the left-hand side of the Bittrex menu, there's something called API key. You just click that, and it generates the key, and it generates what they call a secret key. And then what you do is you cut and paste those back into Humble Financial, and then you're basically set. Like, I've been logging into Humble Financial every day and looking at my investment and getting ready to make another block purchase. I do not have to put that API key in again. Once the API key and the secret key is put in for the first time, you're set pretty much. So I know there was some chatter around that, and I know some of the people that really follow this company and support the company the way you and I do. There's been some tutorials put out about the API key, and I would not get intimidated by that. It's a very secure thing. I just know they had a little glitch with it, kind of like to his point earlier, from a week ago, that the servers were inundated and they were overloaded. I think there might have been an issue around the API key as well, but that's you should not be intimidated by that. Even if you're a very basic computer person, it's really easy to do.
Before we leave the topic of the ETXs, is there anything else you want to say about the process? Or let me ask this: you're only in Block 5 right now, right?
Correct. I'm only in Block 5 right
Are
now.
you looking to
Um,
do any of the bot trading?
I am, and to be fair to you, I have not done as much research about that. I was kind of focusing on the blocks because when you look at those returns, when you go onto that Humble Financial page, I mean, I know you've been an investor for 40 years, and
Well, not in blocks.
well, not in blocks, but in the stock. But my point is that when you see those kind of returns,
Yeah,
I mean,
they're
even
amazing. I mean, here
yeah,
we're
they're
seeing block.
amazing.
What are we?
They're absolutely amazing. And, I know you've commented on some of your previous shows about some of our friends abroad, up in Canada and some of the other places where you've had some communication with some of those folks who have been doing this, who've had access to it longer than we have. The returns are just amazing. And, again, we all believe in this company. We know it's going to be a slow build. It's not a get rich quick scheme. They have, you talk about it all the time on your broadcast, the things that they have coming out and things they're doing with Tickery and things they're doing with the app that everyone's anxiously awaiting for. I mean, you look at these returns on the ETXs, you're like, I got to be in this game because this is the future. There's a lot of talk. I know you cover the economy, and there's a lot of talk about crypto and uh,
Yeah,
the
this is
federal.
this
Yeah,
is history right in front of our eyes, folks. I appreciate Scott sharing his story here. But when you look
yeah,
at this and you look at, as he's saying, look at this block global enterprise, 1190% in the last 12 months. The block platform, 1,200, and let's call it 80% in the last 12 months. That's incredible. Um, and I don't know if they can maintain that, nor does Scott, but I mean, we'll see. What is interesting is that never before have I seen, I mean, when I first ETX, what the heck's an ETX? So, what's funny, I was share with you, Scott, is that, 40 years of investing, and it's amazing to me. I had a friend tell me in late November about Humble, and I looked at it and I go, why the hell do I want to invest in a flooring company?
yeah.
I had never heard of SPACs before. I had never heard of Kathy Wood before. It's amazing to me how much I've learned after all these years of investing just in the last 5 months or so. But it's fun. It's fun to learn. It's not. It's been rough, I know, for all of us. And as we look at Humble today, and here it is below $3 this Friday, and people are saying, well, we've had the ticker change, and now we have ETX out, and we're still below $3. I would say what you should look at, and as I said in an earlier investment, you're buying a company, you're not buying a stock price. And what you are seeing is development. Look at this. This is real. This is out there. You got the ticker change, you got the merger, you got not only the blocks, but you have them now as of a week ago in the United States. And we continue to see development and positive movement. And I think that's the thing that I think we need to be looking now. We're going to have the earnings coming out. And look, folks, I've spent like 30 years in journalism, and I'm not of the sycophant sort. If they're doing something wrong, I'll call them out on it. But I think that so far they've done amazing work, and now we got Tickery as well. That's another development that kind of came out of the blue. So let me, I talk about this all the time, and it's a one-way conversation, Scott. But share with me, because you're, I think, the first humble investor that I've had on camera.
Okay.
Share with me your own thoughts about humble, and we have not practiced this. I mean,
No,
but
sure.
why do you? I think you like humble. That's why you're investing in it. But why do you like it? You know, uh, just give us your thoughts.
Yeah, sure. I appreciate you asking me that. I mean, look, this is a company as it's developed from the very beginning. We heard so much about the space that they were going to be competing in. They were going to be kind of like your PayPal and your Venmo and your Cash App, kind of rolled into one with more capability. Borderless, currency exchange, things like that. I mean, what everyone has to understand is that, I said it earlier, it's not a get rich quick scheme. I mean, if you're investing in Humble because you think this stock is going to go, to $20, in 2 months, you probably are, not manage your expectation right, in the right way. Why I'm invested in this company is I believe that, Brian Foote and his leadership team from the beginning, when you talked about, what are we buying, a flooring company? But I looked at all the types of people that he was bringing on, the people from MoneyGram and the people from all these other businesses, the space that they were trying to compete in. I've been on every investor call he's had. And, I've listened to what he said about where they're going with the company. And I know you talk about this all the time. I mean, this is a company that's in its embryonic stages. I mean, this company is 3 months old, and you got to be patient with it. I mean, to buy at these levels at $2.90 a share. Look, I'm 55 years of age, and if this company takes 5 years, 10 years to get to where it is. I mean, look at the market valuation on a PayPal and where the stock price
I
is.
almost commented on that. I almost tweeted that today. It was like $255. It's right around there, PayPal.
I mean, everything that they're doing, the partnership in Chile, the things they're doing, like you mentioned with Tickery, the stuff that everyone's anxious for the app to come
And
out,
I
and I
couldn't
see.
remember, not Tickery, I couldn't remember the other night when I was trying to say this. Ticketing is apparently, which I only know from the Tickery conversation, is $100 billion a year industry.
It's
And as I said, if Tickery gets 1%, that's $1 billion in revenue right there.
it's unbelievable. And look, if you're listening to this broadcast and you're in your early 20s or 30s or whatever age you are, you're making an investment in a company that has amazing technology, that's in a space that is really good. We've heard Brian talk about Web3 and the platform, and you just think about the things that we use here as consumers in the United States, and so many of us use PayPal, use Venmo, and they're not even into the ETXs and all the other things. I just, I try not to look at the everyday stock price and get down. Oh, we dropped 20 cents here, we dropped 30 cents here. I know that's all going to stabilize. I know that when, like you said, the earnings are going to come out, it's going to be real interesting to see. I think there's a lot of people subscribing to the ETX platform. And I remember your show that you did about a week and a few days ago, where you showed the number of subscribers. And if they had, 10 million subscribers and 5 million subscribers, this company, folks, you have to believe in it. You just have to believe in what they're doing, and don't get discouraged. It's not I keep saying it, but it's not a get rich quick scheme. It takes a long time to build a business. It takes a long time to get some things going. And if this stock is, in 12 months, if this stock is trading at 10 or $15 a share, you'll be tickled, pink. You'll be so thrilled. And I'm very enthusiastic about the company. I love what you do, how you cover the company. And I think you're doing a great job. And I just think we, as investors, we just need to really, believe in what the management team's doing. I mean, Brian, and I'll end it on this, comment. I mean, he's like the grandfather of blockchain technology. And so, like, he brings this product to us that was available outside the United States prior to, last week, that some of these folks that I've gotten to know on Twitter and some of the other social platforms that have been investing in it for 6 months, and they love the returns. And so this is just a great company, folks. Just remember, it takes time to build a business, and we will be to the level of PayPal one day. I absolutely believe that in my heart. I know this is going to be a company that's going to help me in, with me reaching retirement, me reaching some of my financial goals and my family.
I can hear someone cutting the grass next door. And I've often said, if you get a kid in high school, 16 years old, even 15 years old, they can get a push more, and over the course of a summer could make $2,000 or $3,000 going out hustling lawn cutting jobs, in the neighborhood now. And I say that because at $2.95, where we have Humble at the moment, if they bought 1,000 shares, and if 10 years from now, when they're 25 years old, that was $250 as PayPal is now, well, my goodness, I mean, that would be, it kind of puts lawn cutting into a little bit different perspective, doesn't it? I mean, this could be
Absolutely.
obviously game changing for all kinds of people. And yes, Scott and I were talking. I had mentioned before that I had a printing business for about 10 years, beginning in my early 20s, and sold it, fortunately, in 1989. I bring that up because what are you going to compare this money making and Humble growing as a business to? You're a business owner. When I started that, I worked like a dog for 10 years, and I didn't make anywhere near the money that you could make right now investing in Humble. And if this hits the potential that we all think it can hit. And, if you got to get out, and I would say this just about investing, you got to get out of this mindset. Because Humble started as a penny stock, don't think of it as a penny stock. Don't think you're going to buy it and it's going to go up in a pop and you're going to make a quick $5,000 and rub your hands and go, yeah, look at what I did. I was listening. I don't know if you remember, Scott, because I got a couple of years on you. If you remember Peter Lynch, one of the great investors, ran a mutual fund. And Peter Lynch said, I've lost a lot more money selling stocks too early than I did by having stocks go down. He goes, and he mentioned a whole list of names. I bought them and sold them too early. I bought this one and sold it too early and lost a fortune. And, that's the kind of thing I think where we are now. If you're looking at this $2.95 and you go, I'm just going to wait until it goes to $3.70 again and then sell it. Well, you can do what you want to do. And I'm not telling people what to do. They got to manage their own account. As I say always in the front, I'm not a financial advisor. But my thinking is this company has so many different areas, whether it's the ETXs, whether it's Tickery, and I'm forgetting half of them right now. We got the
app,
studio, the merchants, and all this.
Sure, the app that'll be coming out. And look, we've been in a global pandemic for the last 14 months. This Tickery thing is going to, you mentioned it a few minutes ago. This Tickery thing is going to be huge. It's $100 million business. And most of us, watching this, we know of one company that's in that space, and that's Ticketmaster. And, we know the fees that they charge, to buy tickets to a sporting event or a concert or something like that. And I think that Tickery is going to do it right. I just, I tell people, I don't know if you remember an old infomercial of a guy named Ron Popeil. He used to have that rotisserie.
Ron Popeil.
Yeah, Ron Popeil. I'm sorry. And he used to have the rotisserie.
Knives he sold me.
Right. So he had that oven where you set it and forget it.
Oh yeah.
So that's kind of like one of my little sayings, to people. I'm like, just set it and forget it. Buy yourself, X number of shares that you can afford and you can budget, and set it and forget it.
But before we close out, I'll quote another person. Of course, people will know Warren Buffett. No, actually, I misquoted. It was Vogel. Vogel, who started ETFs rather, with Vanguard. And he just died about a year ago. Famous. He goes, most people would be best to just put money into an ETF and then not look at it for 40 years. I don't necessarily subscribe to that entirely, but the point is, when you look at your Humble every day, and I do, and I even said I'm to blame because I'm covering it almost every day. It's more painful then, but maybe you should just say, just look at it. If you can't stand it, just look at it once on a Friday or once every 2 weeks or something. If maybe that would be better if it's giving you heartburn. I've also said it's kind of like, growing your wealth is sometimes like growing corn. You've already planted your seeds. Now let it grow. You're not supposed to plant your seeds and go out the next day and have 3 years of corn sitting there. It takes a while for it to develop. That's where we are with Humble.
Absolutely. Well, I want to thank you very much for, allowing me to be on your broadcast. I really love your shows, everything that you do. I think you bring such a calming voice. I know you've seen that in some of the comments that people leave you, and I think you're doing a great job for the young investors. I mean, let's face it. You mentioned these, 20 and 30-year, and even 40-year-old folks that are, kind of just getting into the stock market. You have so many years of experience in investing, and you give so much good insight as to how people should approach this. I know you're not a financial advisor, but I'm really honored to have been able to participate with you here
Well,
today.
I appreciate your time and insights too, because it gives a little authenticity to have other voices in there. And I haven't done the ETXs, you did, so good for you to get in there and try it out. I need to do it again. I might have to call you if I get stuck.
No problem.
Get your advice.
I'd be happy to help you.
The one thing I will say, and thank you for those comments, is I was lucky enough to have a father who talked about politics and talked about money at the table. And the channel here, Money and Politics. A lot of people don't have that. A lot of people grow up in a circumstance where they don't know anyone in their orbit. Nowhere in their universe has ever invested in stocks, and they know they should, or they think they'd like to, but they don't know who to trust and how not to get taken advantage of. So, as I said, I'm not talking for the people that have been investing for 40 years. They're going to know what I know. But for those people who are out there, and I ran into a fellow, without giving his name, successful business, had about 50 different employees, and we got into talking about stocks. He didn't know the first thing about it. So it doesn't mean you're stupid because you don't know this. You don't know because no one taught us. And I had to learn it after my dad died. And after I did learn all this, I was like, why the heck didn't anyone ever tell me about this? Why did I have to learn this on my own by bumping into the walls? So what this channel is about is trying to just not be using jargon, not trying to make me sound like I'm some fancy Dan, but to say, look, all of you can, if not get rich, make yourself better off financially. You're taking risk financially by not investing. By investing, you put your money to work, as Scott did, and he doesn't know what his return's going to be. He's taking a chance. But on the other hand, by doing it, he's learning. By doing it, he's not just intellectually doing it, he's emotionally doing it because he's got his money on the firing line. And he's going to learn by doing it, just like all of us learn, by whether it's driving a car or going out on a date the first time. Imagine how nervous you were the first time you went on a date. Now, if you went out on a date or whatever, it's everything in life, as I say. 90% of learning is emotional, 10% is intellectual. And, stick $50 in there or $100. Is there a minimum, Scott, on the ETXs? Do you know?
There is a minimum on the ETXs, and you have to look at it by each block.
Each block is different.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. So, and it actually even fluctuates a little because when I bought the block 5, it was around $360, give or take. And then when I refreshed my screen, when I told you there was a little bit of I wouldn't even call it a glitch. It was just a timing thing with the deposit from the third party processor. It dropped down to like 344. So you are seeing real time kind of market activity with the blocks. But yes, to answer your question, is definitely a minimum, and just research them. Look at what interests you, and you will see the minimum when you go to make that deposit. You'll know, okay, I've got to deposit $175 for this block, or I have to deposit $350 for this block. So, yes.
Okay, and it's all cash. It's all cash account. These are not margin accounts, right?
Yeah, all cash.
Okay.
Yep, absolutely.
Well, Scott, I kept you much longer than I thought I would, but I appreciate it. It's been educational for me, hopefully for our viewers. Thanks so much, and maybe what we'll do is touch base with you again in the future. Maybe I don't know, a couple of months from now
I'd
or
love
so.
to
It'd
come.
be
I'd
interesting
love
to see how you're doing.
Sure.
And
I'd love to come back anytime.
one last
Yep.
question: do you have plans to invest in any of the other blocks?
Absolutely, 100%. I will be investing in some of the other blocks.
Great. Well, Scott, thanks for joining us from Atlanta. just part of the Humble Nation. And we'll see you, hopefully, if not tomorrow. This is Friday. If I don't do it tomorrow, I'll probably do at least one day over the weekend. Good night, Scott. Have a great weekend.
Have a great weekend. Bye.